Hello everyone, I'm Jack, the Rambling Raconteur, and I hope everybody's well and safe. I've been doing a little bit of reading in between coordinating Algebra 2 and college math, lessons going online, doing some videos. Who knew that doing a BookTube channel would be such great practice for showing students how to do math, through videos. So it's been a trip, it's been a week. Thankfully, we're all safe here in Phoenix. My kids are safe. My wife is safe. I'm well. The students I've heard from, they're well. So we're moving forward. And just trying to stay positive. The weather's been fantastic here. But I saw it's March Mystery Madness. I'm, like I said, reading a little bit in the afternoon or in the evening, usually at like 9, 10 o'clock at night when I finish work. I'm reading to decompress. I've got a couple of books of short stories I've been like reading one story a night from to just kind of help me, decompress, and then I go and rest. But I saw a couple of people were putting up videos where they talk about 5 of their favorite fictional detectives. I absolutely love and adore crime fiction, detective fiction. I saw Brian at Bookish and Jason at Byways and Booklands videos, and it brought a lot of joy to me as I was eating lunch today, and I thought, I love this stuff. Let's get back on. I can carve out 10 minutes. So without further ado, 5 of my favorite fictional detectives, and I want to start by saying I love detective fiction. I love crime fiction in general. I tried to stick to actual detectives, and I tried to kind of pull some people that people have heard of, maybe some others you haven't heard of from. I love Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe. Dashiell Hammett's Continental Op. I'm a big fan of Ross MacDonald's Lou Archer, Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot, Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. I love all of those. Here's 5 though that I really enjoy. I really enjoy coming back to. So the first one is Martin Beck by the husband-wife team. Maj Sowal and Per Walu. The first one is Rosanna. This kind of has, Beck in real large on the cover. But the Vintage Crime also did these really cool editions that kind of have a different, like, goofy side. They're very classy looking. And I read one of these a year. I love this series. It's 10 books taking you across. And you don't just get, like, the crime. They're police procedurals, but you also get this whole like light shown on Swedish society, European society as it's changing throughout these books. And probably my favorite like single police procedural books. And it says on here the godparents of Scandinavian crime fiction. I've seen Harry Hole or Kurt Wallander mentioned, and I love Martin Beck. He's a favorite. He's such a laconic, deadpan, dry sense of humor about what's going on. One closer to home here, another sort of police procedural, are Tony Hillerman's characters. He has 2 sort of main characters. I've got 2 volumes here, Thief of Time and Coyote Waits. And his characters are set in the Navajo Tribal Police. He's got 2 characters. One is Joe Leaphorn, Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn, and the other is Officer Jim Chi. Leaphorn's the older character, and so there's 3 Leaphorn books, 3 Chi books, and then a whole series of books where it's both of them together. Despite being the older character, Leaphorn is traditional in the sense of he's a traditional police procedural cop. Like he's very much like a cop. Jim Chi is the younger tribal police officer. He's a detective, and he very much embraces his Navajo identity. Not that Leaphorn doesn't, but Chi wants to learn some of the songs, like the Ghost Way or the Blessing Way. He wants to learn those. He wants to really be part of the tribe, part of the culture, and embrace all of those aspects. And that sort of push and pull between the 2 of them, and the way we see their characters develop, the way we see across the series Jim Chi, how he's dating women from different backgrounds. He doesn't strictly date and get married with Navajo women. He's dating a school teacher, and like how that affects his culture, and just so fascinating. The books are fantastic mysteries, but the light that it shows, that shines on that culture is just really interesting. Another one is the Anna Pigeon series by Nevada Barr. So Nevada Barr was originally a National Park Service ranger, and she, I believe in the 90s, started writing these Anna Pigeon mysteries, where Pigeon is a character who is a trained police detective from, I believe, NYPD, who, because of some trauma, ends up deciding to join the National Park Service and works as a ranger. And initially, like the early books aren't at the Grand Canyon, Great Smoky Mountains, Yellowstone, Yosemite. They're not at those really populous parks. The first one is set in the Guadalupe Mountains National Park, and I think the second one goes to Isle Royale, and then Mesa Verde, last in Volcanic. This one, Bloodlure, is set at Glacier, but they're well written mysteries. They feature a really like intelligent and tough female detective, and they're sort of police procedurals, except that it's it's not a police force; it's the National Park Service, and you just get this really interesting sense of location and place, and even what life would be like to be a seasonal ranger and things like that. The environments change, and so that's really fun. Um, Moving out of police procedural, like police detectives, those types of characters, I think as much as I enjoy all of those like hard-boiled crime noir detectives from the pulps, if I had to pick just one, I think ask me tomorrow, but not today, Dr. Seuss. I think my favorite's Samuel Spade from the Maltese Falcon. Now, part of that tied to the movie version directed by John Huston with Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade. Definitely. But the book holds up. It's such a tight book. It's such a focused book. And Spade, he's got his code, but he's probably not somebody I would want to be friends with. But I love reading. And part of the reason I wanted to grab Sam Spade, so in the Maltese Falcon, but maybe some people aren't aware, Joe Gores was a detective novelist. I want to say maybe the 60s, 70s, 80s. He wrote a book called Hammett that's really fascinating. It actually puts Dashiell Hammett as doing one last private detective case in San Francisco in like the 1920s, and it's fascinating. But Joe Gores, with permission from like the Hammett estate, did a prequel to the Maltese Falcon that's called Spade and Archer. Such a cool cover. And it is fantastic. It starts actually with Spade and Archer up in Washington. I want to say it's Seattle, but I can't remember. But up in Washington, and then how Spade, how moving down to San Francisco, there's the little bits of the Maltese Falcon where it's like it's clear that Spade once knew Archer's, wife, later widow. Spoiler alert, but not really important. Spade knew Archer's wife, and they maybe had something in the past. Spade and Archer delves into that, and it's a really good read. It sort of fills in some details around a character without ever really truly changing that character. Just, I guess, in my opinion, magnifying the character. And so then the last one I want to show are the Nick Travers novels by Ace Atkins. So Atkins is famous now. He's the one who writes the Spencer novels for the Robert B. Parker estate. He has his own Quinn Coulson series where you sort of have like a semi-rural, like sheriff's deputy, former Army Ranger character, and those are good. Those are good. But the one I love are the Nick Travers novels, where Nick Travers is a musicologist. I think that's what his day job is. Yeah, he's a musicologist who's like Atkins, a former college/NFL football player who got hurt, and so he went back and he loves music, but he's also a big guy like Ace Atkins, and Travers goes and he gets these really interesting cases that involve music from the past. So Crossroad Blues is dynamite. It suggests that there's this lost set of records with the great country blues legend Robert Johnson playing electric guitar, and this group of real weird characters. Like some of the assassins are yo-yo criminals are they impersonate Elvis, or they think they're Maryland, like just all over the place. Really strange characters. So Crossroad Blues is really fantastic. That's the first one. Second one is Leaving Trunk Blues, which deals with the electric blues of Chicago. And so Travers is going up there. He's, you know, this woman who's been in prison for all of these years around a murder. Did she commit the murder? Did somebody else? There's a villainous character of Stagger Lee, from Stagger Lee of the great blues songs. The third one, I don't have the copy on me. I'd loaned it out, but it's Dark End of the Street, and it deals with the really sad real life story of James Carr, and that's sort of who had ended up not being able to perform because of his anxiety around audiences and how that like affected his mental health. And so we find out that one of the other characters is related to this, you know, soul singer who is very much based on James Carr, and that was actually my gateway book because my wife and I both love the song Dark End of the Street. So when I found out there was a book called Dark End of the Street that referenced the song and was like sort of based on this character, this real singer's history, I was like, this is fantastic. Let's read this. And then we found Crossroad Blues and Leaving Trunk and just, you know, went from there. There are only 4 books in the series, but I'm always holding out hope that Ace Atkins is going to write some more. So those are 5 of mine, from Police Procedurals, Martin Beck, from Soal and Walu, Tony Hillerman's, Joe Leaporn, and Jim Chi. I lean a little bit towards Chi. He just seems fun. Nevada Bar's Anna Pigeon, and then out of Police Procedurals, Samuel Spade from The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett, Spade and Archer by Joe Gores, and of course Nick Travers by Ace Atkins. So thanks everyone. Hope you're well.